Hey, great evening, Thursday evening. It is a beautiful day in the city of Brownsville. It's just has been an awesome day, despite the fact that the meteorologists had predicted that it was going to be a very hot day in the city of Brownsville, and possibility of showers. It actually turned out to be a pretty nice day, beautiful day actually, and it's an even better day because today we have the honor of having with us a couple of Brownsville's movers and shakers. Uh, And we have with us, of course, uh, Mayor of the City of Brownsville, Mr. Trey Mendez. How you doing today, Mayor?
Good, thank you. I forgot that this is a formal event, so in the pre-show I had a T-shirt, and then I realized that both you and Frankie wore your ties again like you did last time, so I need to go do a wardrobe change.
Well, let me tell you, Mayor, it's always an honor, and we're going to have, important individuals on. We're going to have the Mayor of the City of Brownsville. We are actually going to dress up. But let me tell you, Esther, I'm wearing shorts, which is classic. But thank you, Mayor. I know your time is valuable, so thank you so much for coming on. And of course, for the first time, actually, we have from AOBE TSTA Ida Abeldano. I hope I said that right.
Close enough. Abeldano.
Abeldano. Because I never see the N yet. Abeldano. Yeah. Well, it's an honor to have you with us. Very impressive for everything that you do for some of the most important individuals out there in the city of Brownsville, our teachers and our BISD staff. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for giving us these minutes of your time.
No problem. Thank you for the opportunity to be on here, and it's an honor to be able to represent our employees of BISD.
Thank you. And let's start off with something that we usually start off with. Again, the numbers. And, we still have yet to receive the official numbers from Cameron County. And again, for some reason, they do tend to be a little bit on the slower side these past couple of days. But I think that's a little bit understandable because of the great amount of positives that are coming in through the system. This morning, we learned that Hidalgo County was going to announce 70 plus. Mayor, what do you see in the numbers here in Brownsville, Texas for us?
Well, I think we're seeing the numbers rise at a pretty drastic rate. The last 3 days prior to today, we were at 20 plus positives for the day. Unfortunately, we had 2 deaths reported yesterday, and I'm being told that we're going to have 20 plus again today. I have not gotten the text message regarding how many we've got today, but I did get off the phone with the provider just a bit ago, and he was telling me that the last 3 days have been by far the worst he's seen as a provider, and that the last 3 days they had 130 people go through the drive-through, 167 today, and tomorrow they're going to have more than 100 again. And that's really high because our rate for the drive-through had been maybe consistently about 50 to 60. When we first started, we were doing 70, 80, and then it slowed down for a little bit when we were seeing the curve flatten. When we had the shelter in place, we were seeing maybe 30, maybe 40 a day. Then it started taking back up again. And like I said, last 3 days, 130, 167 tested today, and more than 100 that are going to be scheduled tomorrow. So we had 29 positives yesterday from the drive-through and 21 today. So, and those have not been reported by the county yet that we're aware of. The county is usually about a day or two behind when we get our drive-through testing results. So being that we've had 20 plus the last 3 days, today will be the 4th day in a row that are going to be scheduled to have 20 plus. So that's going to be, it's definitely, concerning for us, right? So it's showing me that we're starting to see the results from Memorial Day. It fits right in. We're about 10, 11 days out from Memorial Day weekend. And what I also heard from the provider was that the amount of community spread right now, meaning individuals that don't know exactly where they got it, they cannot trace it back to a family member or anybody that they've been in close contact with, either a relative or coworker. They actually are showing up with the symptoms, testing positive, and letting the provider know, I honestly don't know where I got it. I went to go eat last week. I went to Lowe's. I went to Chili's, whatever, and I have it. and nobody that I know is sick or nobody I work with is sick. So that's what's community. That is what community spread is. When you get it just out being from being out in the community, and he told me that he's starting to see it almost even as far as community spread and links to previous cases and travel related. So that's a really big concern. It should be a huge concern for all of us, but it's a very big concern for me as mayor. And I also get the hospital census, which is just basically the amount of individuals that are hospitalized on a daily basis. And I do have that number, and I can say that the ICU beds at Valley Regional, or the COVID-related ICU beds, are pretty much full. We're starting to see the adult ICU and other hospital capacity go up. So this is starting to look like what we were hoping would not happen. But now we've seen the results of our actions, I guess we can say, over the last couple of weeks, and the reopenings and everybody acting like everything's fine, which it's not. And unfortunately, we've seen a really big increase in fatalities as well, about 10 over the last month or so. So that's really concerning.
Well, Mayor, one of the things that you mentioned is in regards to, we were expecting a lot of the numbers to go up on the rise with the opening of everything out there. You did mention restaurants, Mayor. One of the things that we did receive later on this afternoon, that one of our restaurants here at the smack center of the city of Brownsville, one of our main restaurants, I'll say that because it is one that has a lot of traffic going back and forth through it, is Chili's. And Chili's announced, they were out there being upfront, and they said that they did have positives, and that they were going to close down for the next 3 days, reopen possibly on Sunday. Now, this is just one of the restaurants that has actually, decided to be upfront and say, hey, we have this issue. Do we suspect other restaurants that should be doing the same, or that might be doing the same, or might have the same situation?
Well, I think that the prudent thing to do for any restaurant is, if you know anything about this, you need to take the utmost precautions. I respect Chili's, and I really applaud them for being aggressive about the way that they're handling it. We don't know what kind of practices they had in place prior to this, and I'm not going to throw shade because we don't know. They could have been taking all the precautions in the world, and it's still going to happen. So I do respect their decision to go ahead and shut down over the weekend and take those precautions for the best interest of their guests, which is very commendable. And unfortunately, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that other places may end up doing the same if they get positives. And when I was on the phone with the provider earlier today, Eder, who's been on your show, he also told me that he's aware of at least 4 other restaurants in town that have positive employees. So we'll see how they handle that.
Yeah, one of the things that Eder did mention on one of his posts, that's one of the ways that he communicates with the city, is that it wasn't only restaurants. We were also going to see individuals come in from bars, from meat markets, and it's very, very concerning. One of the other places I would say that, that we heard about today, actually, I won't say, but they actually put it out. It actually came out yesterday, was the HEB on Boca Chica, where they made mention that 2 of the partners out there had also tested positive. Again, are we starting to see with the restaurants, with the bars, with the grocery stores, are we starting to see Brownsville turn into a mini epicenter, Mayor?
Well, when you compare it to other cities in Texas, I don't think we are, because unfortunately, all of Texas right now, you can say, is growing pretty rapidly. We're starting to see the amount of cases in Texas as a whole be all-time highs. So are we doing really bad compared to other cities? That's relative. Overall, I think our numbers are going up just like the rest of the state's going up, and it's not hard to tell why. Come on, it's common sense. You start opening things up, you start having more mobility, you start having people interacting with each other, you start seeing people at grocery stores and other places without facial coverings or without protecting themselves as if everything is okay, then you're going to start to have this. This is exactly what we were cautioning people about a month ago or more, when the governor opened up and said, look, the governor's opening up certain things. He's doing it slowly. I remember being on your show and saying that it was actually not as aggressive as I thought it might be, but it was a scaled up approach. But because of that scaled up approach, we saw individuals start to think that everything was okay. So while you have a lot of citizens right now that are still taking precautions, you have a whole lot that are not. And if you look at the individuals that are testing positive, the two age groups that are testing positive the most are individuals between the age of 20 and 29, and individuals between the age of 30 and 39. And that's really concerning because those are the individuals that we're seeing out there at bars at South Padre Island that are, behaving very carefree, not thinking that they're going to get sick. Well, guess what? 7-10 days later, you're going to go see Ed at the drive-through, and you're a statistic. And unfortunately, you can spread that to your relatives that are older than you. If you go to a barbecue with 15 people, it's not unlikely that some of those people are going to come out positive too, and then they're going to spread it out. So precautions are very necessary at this point in time, even if we're moving around, even if we're allowed to go to restaurants, even if we're allowed to go to bars and other places. That doesn't mean everything's okay. That means that now the responsibility is on you to take those precautions and take it upon yourself to protect yourself and everybody else.
Thank you,
Mayor, I know recently, the governor of Texas reopened the economy, and the county and the cities are kind of, at the governor's at will, at his mercy. What is the city's next step? Is there going to be some sort of implementation? I know we can't shut down, but what would you recommend for business owners and for the community to do from here on in?
I think it now seeing the leadership we're getting in Austin, and the focus being more so on the economy, then I think it's more incumbent upon us to do what's necessary to protect ourselves. And unfortunately, as mayor, it's very clear that there's certain things we can do and certain things we cannot. So those things that I can control, being city facilities, city parks, other things that are city owned, we are still being very conservative when it comes to that. City buildings are still not open. City parks have open green spaces. The facilities themselves are still not open. Pools still haven't opened. So what we can control, we're still doing. However, I feel that the citizens themselves, it is upon us to do what we need to do to protect ourselves and everybody else, really. And if that means wearing a facial covering and go shopping, that's what we got to do. If that means going to pick up at Brownsville Coffee Shop in the morning instead of going to sit down with our friends, that means pick up. Don't go in. As you know, I'm a restaurant owner myself. We have not opened, and we haven't opened for this particular reason because we feel that the numbers aren't where they should be. And even though there's a lot of individuals that want us to open, and we are planning to open towards the end of next week, but we may have a conversation about that again if things keep going the way they're going. But it's really like I said, it's now incumbent upon us to protect ourselves, and we can't rely on the governor to do what's necessary at this point. And like I said, my hands are tied on certain things. The county judge's hands are tied. I get messages every single day asking me why we can't do curfews, why we can't do mandatory face masks. And you know what? I mean, if it were up to us, we would still be doing that. But that doesn't mean that if the individual that's saying, hey, ask everybody to wear a face mask, either don't, at this point in time, the best I can tell you is either don't go out unless you have to, or protect yourself and wear a covering for yourself. That's really the best thing you can do. I can't force your neighbor to do it. I can't force everybody else at HEB to do it. All I can say is if you don't have to go out, don't go out.
Mayor, before I take this question to the mayor, I'm going to go this to Ida. Ida, what is your opinion with BISD recent department closures? BISD only closed 2 departments, payroll and finance. We know for a fact, finally, it took the superintendent a week and a half to finally announce that there was an issue at main office when we were out there posting about it a week ago. What is y'all's take? What is your opinion, Ida, in regards to BISD recent department closure, the delay in sharing the information with the staff and with our community, and only closing down 2 departments?
We've been very vocal on that because it was a very big concern, and it still is at this point. A lot of the members have reached out in regards with as far as the district's reaction to all of this. We had reached out from the very beginning when we first started to hear about these positive cases, and we never received a confirmation on it. So we can only go by what they disclose to us, unfortunately. And it was not disclosed until, I believe, was it yesterday? I lose track of the days already. Because I do strictly work from home. So when it was officially disclosed, we did send an email to superintendent and the cabinet asking for a clarification as far as the plan of action for safety for the rest of the employees in the building, because the departments where the positive cases came out are on the 3rd floor. And so that means they've been throughout the building. They've been through the elevators. They who knows how long they were working with the symptoms and things like that. So they were around the building, talking to coworkers or whatever it is that they might have been doing. So my concern was, okay, what is the administration building going to do at this time to protect the rest of the employees that are being required to report to work? And unfortunately, as of right now, we still have not gotten official notice as far as the plan of action that they're doing. The only thing that they changed was, and I was at least happy to hear that, because we've been advocating for that, is the wearing of the face mask. So now at least the face masks are going to be required to enter the building, and only 2 people at a time in the elevators. So, but as far as the deep cleaning for the rest of the departments, that has not been disclosed to us yet. And I really wish that they would communicate that with us, because we're here to help our members through this very difficult time. And we would like to reassure them that their safety is a priority at BISD. So hopefully we will hear back from them so we can relay that to our members. But it's difficult because, and I believe you're going to probably cover it later in the show, that all employees are being asked to report back to work on Monday. And that's, I think, in my opinion, that's a big mistake at this point in time, because people are really panicking. And you get all different types of comments, as you've seen, that, oh, this is not as bad as it seems, or you see these people at the stores, they're at HEB, they're at the beach. We can't put everybody in the same category, because that doesn't apply to everybody. There is some people who are following all the recommended guidelines and are very fearful of their health or their family's health. Yeah. So you can't say that everybody's out at the malls and everybody's out at the beach, because there are some people who are being careful but are being required to go and report to work. And they have to, because that's their way of making a living.
And so I'm sorry, just to answer Tessa's question real quick before I lose her question. Is it one person, multiple persons at BISD? It is multiple staff at BISD. She's very correct. The way that the letter was written was ridiculous. It made absolutely no sense. I mean, for someone that is out there that's supposed to be in academia, the letter was horribly written. Mayor, the BISD is the #1 employer in the city of Brownsville. I would dare to say probably the #1 employer south of San Antonio. Mayor, are you concerned with BISD's positive numbers at our junior highs, our positive numbers at the main office, and also the kids returning to on campus for athletics and band, and no social distancing, no supervision, and no face coverings?
I'm concerned with BISD overall. I think anytime you have a large-scale employer like BISD, like the county, like the city of Brownsville, AmFels, HEB, Walmart, and I've talked about this with you before, anytime you have a large-scale employer, you need to have some sort of plan in place, and you need to take as many precautions as possible. And not having social distancing that's what's happening. That's extremely concerning. If individuals aren't being asked to wear facial coverings or protection, that's really concerning. And I was on the phone with with individuals from BISD earlier this week, because we asked the city is proposing to partner with BISD to set up a testing program for its employees. In other words, we want to partner with BISD on testing all of their employees on a regular basis, on a staggered basis, to make sure that employees are getting tested regularly. You have teachers that are going to be interacting with students. We're seeing that a lot of students are asymptomatic. Younger individuals tend to be asymptomatic, so that's silent spreaders. That's a huge concern. Anytime you send 40,000 plus people back to work and back to school, that's a huge concern. And there's studies that exist. I actually sent a study to the superintendent 2 months ago that was done by the University of Texas that shows the drastic effect that institutions of higher learning have on flattening the curve or doing the opposite, creating a massive spread. So it's a huge concern, and I hope that there's some sort of plan in place by the time school goes back into session, if it is that it goes back. But I think you're going to need to consider remote learning for quite some time, especially if we keep going the way we're going.
Joanna, we'll get back to your question in a bit, Joanna. That's actually an amazing question. With that said, Mayor, one of the other concerns that we have, again, one of the reasons why we're opening this quickly is because of the economy. That's one of the things that's at the forefront of the mind of the president, of the governor. And, it's important to all of us, I would say, the economy. How are we going to take a hit in regards to the sales tax for this next quarter? People aren't coming in from Matamoros because of the restriction in regards to their green cards. It might get extended past June 22nd. Is this all going to affect the city of Brownsville?
Absolutely. I mean, it's naive to think that it's not. We're somewhere between probably 10 to 20%. I've been asking at meetings for a solid number, but all I can tell you at this point, and it's a big disparity, it's between 10 and 20% of a hit, sales tax revenue hit, that's pretty much where you're seeing it across the state. 15% isn't out of the question. It's pretty standard. That's probably where we're looking at. The good thing for us over the fiscal year was that this happened towards the end of the fiscal year. So overall for the year, we're not going to take that huge of a hit. But if you're asking me what the impact has been over the last 3 months, it's easily between 10 and 20%, probably closer to 15. But we're bracing for that. We understand it, and we're making contingency plans for that. The good thing about being fiscally conservative and having a good commission and good administration is we have a fund balance. We have a fund balance of almost 3 months. And I guess the general accepted practice that's recommended is 60 days.
Right.
Some institutions have 30. Some institutions have a week. But the city of Brownsville, thankfully, I think we're at about close to 80 days. So we're almost at 3 months worth of fund balance.
Awesome.
And you kind of consider that a rainy day fund, right? We do not plan on tapping into it. I don't think we will. But we are going to take a hit, definitely, on sales tax revenues for sure.
Mayor, on one of the other concerns that is coming up is, throughout the country, we have seen the riots that have gone on because of the death of George Floyd. We did see a protest here in the city of Brownsville. With that said, one of the things that we have been talking about is regards to racism and, a lot of the ideals of a lot of individuals out here. One of the things that has resurfaced is the Jefferson Davis Memorial, the rock that is in Washington Park. Have y'all had a lot of calls in regards to the rock? If that's the case, are there any plans? Has there been any future placements of the rock, or is the rock going to stay where it's at?
Actually, I think the entire commission is pretty close to being in agreement that we don't want that I don't know what you want to call it, whether memorial, artifact, rock. But the problem for us is we have to put it on the agenda. We can't just unilaterally act. So I was thinking that if there was any way for us to take care of it prior to having to do it through the commission, because it was, I think about 2 or 3 years ago, this came up and it was just never resolved. Don't ask me why. I obviously wasn't there. But I don't see any sort of reason for it to be there. Definitely not in favor of it being there. I had a conversation with Commissioner Cowan about that earlier today. He definitely doesn't want it there. And unfortunately, this is something that That is a divisive issue considering everything that's happening now. It should have been removed a long time ago. It didn't. It took what's happening in the country right now to kind of put it back on the radar. And the commission does plan to have it on the agenda next meeting.
Wow.
There's no need for people to be protesting about the rock. There's no need for the media to start inciting additional feelings about it. The commission's going to take care of it. Trust us to take care of it, and we're going to do the right thing. But individuals will still insist on doing the drastic thing if that's what they want to do. But I know the Herald is going to be doing a story about it in the next couple of days. So the rock, I sure hope the rock will be a dead issue in the next couple of weeks.
Mayor, could this potentially, the issue of the rock, could it potentially lead to other removals? Downtown, we have, streets named after presidents who, as we know, were slave owners. Is that something that could possibly open a can of worms by removing the rock, in your opinion?
I don't think so, Frankie. And if that's the case, then you're going to have to remove the street names in every single city across the U.S. Because I guarantee you there's a Washington and a Jefferson Street in probably 99% of every city in the U.S. But what this rock stands for is it's a tribute to a Confederacy. It was honoring an individual for their service to a Confederacy, which is not the ideals or the principles we stand for. So that I think that's a slightly different issue than honoring a duly elected president of the United States back, in our union's history. That's a little bit different, if you ask me. But I can understand it completely. I mean, it's a totally legitimate question.
Well, the problem is with a lot of these people, you give them an inch and they'll want to take a mile. So I'm going to say, again, my stance on the rock is it's just a rock. It's just a rock. I mean, there's other issues affecting the city of Brownsville, the school district, that individuals should really, really be up in arms about. But again, everyone can protest whatever they want. It's one of the good things about living in this country. You have a right to protest, and you got a right to express your opinion. And, as long as it's done civilly and, you're not out there burning up police officer vehicles or shooting police officers, everything's going to be all right. One of the other movements that's going on throughout the country is defund the police, defund police departments. Is that anything that has been talked about or anything that has been brought up to you all? Is that anything that the city of Brownsville will ever want to consider?
It's been brought up, obviously, by some individuals. I've gotten emails about it. I've gotten messages about it. But to me, that's one of the most ridiculous concepts. Defunding of police, in my opinion, is totally outrageous. As many people may know, this was a campaign issue for me last year, but we're already short when it comes to our number of officers on a per capita basis. We're at 244, and that's a lot less than it should be. We should be probably, if we compare ourselves to other cities, we should probably be at about 40 officers more. There was some budgetary constraints over a period of time that caused us to be there. But I will say that our police chief's doing an amazing job with the amount of officers that he has. To consider defunding is crazy to me, and not something I'm personally in favor of. I think we need law enforcement presence. However, the difference there is, can police officers take trainings? Can they learn to be better officers? Can they learn to have better procedures? Absolutely. And I've spoken with our police chief, and they've actually taken measures already regarding chokeholds, regarding other things within their department. And I think the way that you handle an arrest is it's an issue for the department. And if you get certain training and you take implicit bias training, I'm all in favor of that. If officers have any sort of bias or prejudice that they carry with them, by all means, those individuals should be disciplined. And that's not the kind of officer we want in the Brownsville Police Department.
Amen.
Also, we need law enforcement. We need that personnel out there. And I do sympathize in a way with law enforcement personnel in certain situations, because when you're face to face with an individual who has a gun pointed at you, it's a different situation, right? And I've spoken to police officers about this particular issue. Most of them are actually in favor of taking some measures in regards to how police officers handle arrests and what kind of force they can use and what they shouldn't use. But I'll say that as far as defunding police, not on my radar at all. Absolutely.
I have a question directly for you, Mayor. It says, like Erasmo says, BISD is the largest employer. BISD employees are afraid. Have you met with the superintendent and the board members? The board president said COVID-19 was a hoax. Yes, she did. Maybe they need to be educated on the seriousness of it.
Well, at what point do elected officials start to lecture other elected officials, right? I mean, I'm the mayor of Brownsville. I can't always start getting involved in telling the BISD board how to do their job. You saw I tried to do that about a couple months ago, and they took some severe offense to that. But really, when it comes down to it, they're grown-ups. They're duly elected officials. They have a responsibility to their constituents, just like I do. And I work night and day to do the best I can as an elected official and keep the best interests of my constituents in mind. And I sure hope the BISD board does the same thing. I can't speak for them. I can't speak to what their life is like. But I do have contact with BISD administration. I have had communication with the superintendent, as we know. I still communicate with some of their administrators regarding different issues, particularly at this point in time, testing and reopenings, just to make sure that they're being as cautious as they can. But sometimes their hands are tied as well.
It is. Again, I think a lot of our teachers out there are very, very frustrated. I think I've spoken to a lot of teachers out there. You know, they're going through anxiety. They're going through a lot of stress because of everything. I mean not only because of what what we're all living in regards to COVID-16 or COVID-10, as the Brownsville Herald says, but because of actually COVID-19, but also they're having to deal with having to teach the students and everything else. Ida, how has been the anxiety level out there at for teachers and staff in regards to BISD's actions or inactions?
And I'll answer that in a minute, but I had a quick question for the mayor on that. In talking to the superintendent and all of that, because we had a meeting with him yesterday or the day before, and he mentioned about how next week he is saying that now the restrictions are going to move up to 75% building capacities starting Monday. That's what the governor is putting out. We've been researching that, and all we can find is it is still going to be at the 50% capacity for the buildings. So are you aware that it's going to be moving up to 75%?
Actually, I asked that question in a meeting a few days ago, and it's apparently been the latest governor's order that was issued earlier this week. It was issued kind of silently. Nobody even knew that it was issued in a press conference or anything, but that's some of the language that I wasn't aware about or wasn't aware of, such as restaurants going to 75%. That was in there to my surprise. That's phase 3. And when the governor did his phasing plan about a month ago or more now, he stated certain conditions that were going to need to be met in order to reach different phases. And we have not met the qualifications or the guidelines for phase 3. However, the order was still issued. So I don't know whether he backed off of that or what, but the order was issued because our council sent me a copy of it earlier this week, and I was surprised that they're still going forward with that.
So we are still moving over into phase 3, even though we haven't met all the requirements?
That's my understanding.
Wow. That's interesting, and that's interesting for everybody to know because the people need to know where these elected officials are putting their priorities, especially at a time like this. With us not meeting all those requirements, we're seeing the spike again, and we still haven't even seen the big spike from all of this protesting and reopening of the state. And they just continue to move forward on to the next phase. And I believe that it's just going to put too many people at risk. And that's why I was wondering when did we get the green light to go and move forward to phase 3. So,
yeah.
Wow. But going back on your question, Erasmo, the anxiety level, I've been with TSTA for a few years, going on 6 years. And it's been nothing like what I've seen since this pandemic started. And it's fortunate to have to see what some of our educators, and at TSTA, when we refer to educators, we mean everybody in the school district, because we are firm believers that it takes everybody to be able to educate the child. So we consider everybody an educator across the board. So we're not just singling out just our teachers on that. But that being said, with all of this, we've seen so many educators come forward, some in tears of not knowing how they're going to continue to do this, especially when at the beginning of the school closures, there was so many changes of this plan from day to day. And but one thing that has been very concerning is how, and I know it's new to everybody. This is new to everybody across the board. Nobody has been through this before. But that's why we have to, I believe it's important to sit down and have that conversation with all different parties involved. Have somebody to represent the different parties, you know, like our frontline, which is our teachers, the people at the food service, and things like that. So that is why I think that it's important to do that, and that's where the district dropped that ball of having that open communication with everyone. And because of that, it caused so much unneeded stress on all of our employees and our members. And you know, we're hoping that you guys are crazy. And I'm reading the comments, sorry. And I'm hoping, I'm still being hopeful on this, that we can get this message across to the administration, the school board members, that some of these things have got to change, especially right now, because we're seeing a spike and they're not doing anything about it.
No, they're not. And it's very, very unfortunate. Again, it's very, very unfortunate that these individuals in leadership positions don't take a more proactive role. With that said, Mayor, one of the things that that I've heard constantly throughout our day and our nighttime is people are very grateful and thankful that, you know, we made the right choice and we elected a very, very proactive mayor. We've seen more of you, Mayor, in the first 3 months of you taking office than we did of the previous mayor in 8 years in 2 terms. Mayor, in regards to the city of Brownsville, what's next? What are the things I think that we were looking at was the starting to plan different events at a different meeting. We talked about Crossroads coming up about. What's next in regards to our cultural, our touristic attractions out there? Is our zoo going to be okay? Is our playhouse going to be okay?
The zoo actually, I believe, opened back up again earlier this week, and we're working on the zoo master plan. We hired a company to do that. It's really exciting actually, because the results of that plan are going to be amazing, and hopefully it's going to be something that's going to get our zoo back to one of the top zoos in the country. As far as the playhouse, I don't know enough about that at Erasmo, to be honest with you. I know that they were having some financial issues, and they were having some trouble staying open. I know that they had to let their executive director go, and they're still having some issues there. Some of their individuals split off and started another group, so they're having some issues definitely. The city has supported Camille traditionally. We've also supported the other entities in the Multicultural District, the zoo, obviously the Children's Museum, Costumes of the Americas Museum, but. Brownsville is a place that has a lot of attractions, and I've always wanted Brownsville to be a destination city and reinvest in the things that make us unique and the things that bring people in to spend money. The zoo obviously is our biggest tourist attraction, so we're focusing on that first. And I'm just hoping that we can get back to normal at some point soon, although the numbers are starting to dictate that we're not. But gosh, you know, it's the zoo is a priority for me, and I can't wait for it to start not only bringing people back in, but the next phase, which is going to take a while. That's probably going to be after Trey, but at least I'm trying to put the wheels in motion to get that going.
In regards to the 6-foot distancing still being enforced, I think everything out there is at this point just recommendations.
Right. The governor's order has recommendation on that. The governor's orders actually has recommendations on individuals not to associate with anybody not in their household, but you don't see anybody enforcing that.
No, I think one of the things that's very important, and you know, I appreciate, Mayor, you are a business owner and you maintain your place of business. So one of the things that I think the people of Brownsville need to realize and understand that, you know, we're not going to be out there policing every restaurant, every bar, you know, we have to start to become responsible civilians of the city, citizens of the city, and we need to start policing ourselves in regards to all the things that we know are going to detente this virus. And unfortunately, and we saw the bars. The bars, it was crazy. That's the first weekend where they were allowed to be open. We saw, I mean, jam packed. The bars were jam packed with individuals. We've seen the restaurants out there constantly with hundreds and hundreds of cars throughout the day. We have to start policing ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves. We're going to have to, make sure that we are maintaining that social distancing. One of the things that we talked about, Mayor, some time back was that when we were going to get our peak, and you and I had a, hands down discussion in regards to it. Very big.
Bring that up. The one time I was wrong, Erasmo mentioned.
He's never gonna let go, Mayor. He's never gonna.
Never.
To my credit, when we had that conversation at Osmo, that was during the time we had shelter in place, and the numbers had actually leveled off. They were plateaued. So, had I known that we were going to reopen at that point in time, I might have had a different answer. But I don't think we're even at a peak yet. If Eder's telling me that this is the worst he's seen, and we've been doing drive-through testing for 56 days now, and this is the worst he's seen, and we're scheduling over 100 people tomorrow, and our community spread is the highest it's ever been, we're not even close. Let's be realistic. And every day people want to fight me. They want to pull out the calculator and start talking about percentages and how many people have recovered. Awesome. How many people have recovered? Great. But let's also look at how many people are out there getting sick and what that really means. And let's look at the deaths. And I just got a text that I don't know if I can share it.
Yes.
Reports the numbers for today.
Yes, sir.
So 41 positives in the county.
Oh.
29 of those positives are Brownsville, and there's 2 deaths, and those 2 deaths, unfortunately, are Brownsville deaths as well.
And Mayor, if you take a look at the age groups, there are a lot of individuals in their 20s. So that leads me to believe that maybe possibly the restaurants, possibly even the bars, where most of these young adults tend to frequent. So it's unfortunate that we're, like how you previously mentioned, we're still getting a lot of community spread cases. So to me, that's very alarming that the young adults, I feel, in my opinion, aren't taking the necessary precautions to prevent this virus from spreading even more.
Right, and that's why that's why I come on here, and that's why we try and spread the message. And you and Erasmo are spreading that message on a daily basis. Guys, everything's not okay. Take care of yourself. Do everything you need to do. But there's a certain group between the age of 20 and 39 that just does not seem to listen. And what is it going to take for them to listen? And you're right, Frankie. I mean, 20 to 39 is the epitome of the target demographic for bars and restaurants in Brownsville. At my restaurant, we have all these analytics, and our customers between the age of 24 and 35. So I would think that that's pretty much the case for a lot of bars and restaurants in town. So those are the exact same people that are the highest positive cases in the city, and those are the individuals that are out there going to bars and restaurants and getting it and spreading it, right? So the 2 individuals that passed away, one of them was a 100-year-old female, and the other was a 59-year-old male. So 29 positives in Brownsville and 2 additional deaths, unfortunately. So my condolences to their family. That's tragic. And let's keep in mind these individuals that we're starting to see. We've had multiple deaths this week. So let's keep that in mind when we're out there. The 100-year-old lady could be your grandmother. 59-year-old could be your aunt, your uncle, your parent. It could be you. A lot of people that are watching right now. So just because you're not sick today does not mean you're not going to be sick in a week. So take care of yourself and take care of everybody else around you.
Well, it's very concerning because these individuals, a big old chunk of these individuals, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 of these individuals are community-based. And again, we just don't know what that necessarily means. We don't know where they came from. They're not linked to any previous cases. They didn't come from travel. They probably don't know. How long have these individuals have been out and about spreading it throughout the city of Brownsville? And being that the city of Brownsville has been very reckless in regards to a great number of individuals have become reckless. how many more numbers are we going to get? And I'm going to dare say many more. One of the things that BISD did start to do is did start to send in employees into test. I think that's one of the other reasons, Mayor, that we had such a great amount of individuals coming out to test yesterday and today, because BISD was finally starting to send them in without actually announcing it out there to the. And you know what, Mayor? Look, man. This is my beef with BISD. We have yet to receive a statement from the superintendent. Yet. We have yet, and going back to Ida, what Ida was saying, we have yet to receive a statement from the school board. And when that happens, they're teaching by their inactions that, no, everything's okay. These people are in leadership positions. We need them to come out here regularly and say, hey, our students are falling prey to this. Our teachers, our vice principals at Garcia Middle School are falling prey to this. Our employees at the main office are falling. It's not a hoax, folks. It's real. We have to unite. But we have heard nothing. And when I actually sent the superintendent a text. When there is no information, there's a void of information. Everyone starts to go crazy out here. And I'm going to dare say that they're partially to blame, because you got elected to serve the community of Brownsville. Serve the community of Brownsville by making them aware that this is not a hoax. You know, as much as some people out there on the board may think that it's going to disappear magically in the next week or so, it's not. And the responsible thing to do is, and again, I'm not trying to, you know me well enough, Mayor. I'm not trying to kiss your butt, but what they need to do is what you are doing in regards to informing the community.
Well, I believe that you have a responsibility as an elected official, as mayor or superintendent or school board or commission official. You have a responsibility to let your constituents know what exactly is happening for their own good and for the good of the community, right? I have a cousin who's a president at a community college in the state, and his advice to me was always, if he said that this was in regards to his board, he said, if my board is going to hear bad news, I want them to hear it from me first. If they're going to hear good news, I want them to hear it from me first. But the point is, they're going to hear it from me and not from the news media or a blog or anybody else. I operate the same way. If the community is going to find out about anything that happens, I want them to hear it from the city. For example, yesterday, we had a parks employee that tested positive. What did we do? We let everybody know. We put out a press release like, hey guys, we had a park employee who tested positive. We're taking precautions, and we're going to move forward on this. But not everybody operates that way. That's all I can say.
No,
and that's unfortunate. No. And that's one of the things that we have been advocating for from the very beginning of this closure of, we have to find ways, we have to get creative, and sometimes it's not even creative, sometimes it's just common sense of finding a way of how can we reduce this risk. So we've been pushing and putting pressure on them to allow the employees that can work from home to work from home. And I understand not all employees can work from home, okay? Because there are some positions that they do have to go in to be able to complete their duties. But if you allow the ones that are able to work from home, it doesn't mean that they're gonna have a day off. It doesn't mean they're not working, okay? Because their work they can be held accountable to their responsibilities that they're gonna be doing from home. But with that alone would reduce that risk of having so many people in one building, in one office. So you're going to reduce the risk of the possibility of passing this virus among that department. And they continue to not enforce that, and they keep putting it off. And then they'll say something one week, and yes, so they split schedule some of the departments, but not all. There's no consistency across the board. With all the departments, and then all of a sudden, no, you have to report back to work and things like that. And my thing right now, and I've said it several times to them in emails, in meetings, in phone calls, in text messages, let's let the people that can work from home. Okay, let's try to reduce the chance of spreading this even further. We've seen it continue to rise. The numbers are rising. What can we do? That's a good start. There's several things that we pointed out to them. A lot of safety measures that are not being followed. The mask that wasn't being required. all these different things.
That's one of the things I think and again, Mayor, again, not to toot the city of Brownsville's horn, because I tend not to do that too much, but let me say something. Mayor, I get complaints, from the school district. I get complaints from Cameron County. I get complaints from the city of Brownsville. I get complaints from PUB. I get complaints from everywhere in the city of Brownsville. And I will say this, Mayor, that it's been very minimum, the complaints that I received from the departments of the city of Brownsville. I think that the city of Brownsville was very, very proactive, and again, it speaks loudly of your leadership, sir. We're very, very proactive in regards to shutting down different departments. Having individuals work from home, giving them those opportunities, to serve in other ways in the city of Brownsville. Because again, if that weren't the case, Mayor, is that I would have heard about it, and it's been very, very quiet in the negative information coming from the city of Brownsville, sir.
Well, just really quickly on that one question that's there from Mr. Olazado, progress on the airport, it's progressing. Actually, we're progressing good. I was just there over the weekend, and everything's going up really fast. So we're still looking at maybe November, December opening. So as to the city of Erasmo, thanks on that. Part of it actually was by necessity, because when we declared the disaster, it was March 17th. And we went to a emergency operations center at the library. Well, what happened was the first week we were in that emergency operations center, one of the individuals that was there had been exposed to the virus. So we all had to then quarantine ourselves while she got her results back.
Yeah.
So it was almost like by necessity we had to go to a teleworking system. The good thing about us is that we were actually prepared because we had that plan in place. We were able to do it from one day to another. But that says a lot about our administration and the planning of our administration. The one thing that I will say about our administration is they're very meticulous and very detailed and very good at planning for things like this. The drive-through testing was something that I did request, and we got that going within 3 to 4 days from the time that I said, hey guys, we're going to have to start doing this. The time it was up and functioning, 4 days. So we were very aggressive and innovative in the way that we were doing the drive-through testing. So I'm proud of that. And to date, we've tested 3,516 people in our facility. So that's really something I'm really proud of. And we're still trying to expand it and do more. Like I said, looking to partner with BISD, looking to partner with other larger employers, TSC, HE, things like that. So looking forward to being able to ramp that up. But keep in mind also just because you're getting tested today, just a snapshot of your health today doesn't mean you're going to be okay in a week, doesn't mean you're going to be okay in 10 days, but it is a snapshot of where you are now. So that's why we want to start implementing testing programs in some of these larger facilities.
Well, Mayor, again, thank you so much for the constant testing out there. I know that there's different, one of the questions that I constantly get, and I'll say it again, being that you are here, anyone out there in the city of Brownsville that needs to get testing, please, B as in boy, as in Brownsville, T as in Texas, X as in Texas, btxcares.com, btxcares.com, get tested. Please, and a lot of individuals have made mention in regards, and we've shared other options. But Mayor, again, a phenomenal job, Mayor. Thank you so much for everything you do for the city of Brownsville. I've said it before. You became mayor, and I'll say this real quick, because one of the reasons why I think individuals, and it's in Scripture, is that God places individuals in positions when they are most needed, and you are God sent, sir. Again, the city of Brownsville needed a mayor like you, sir, and we are very, very proud that you are a mayor, and we've got your back, sir. And again, thank you for your time. I know you're very, very busy. I didn't want to take up too much of your time, and but thank you so much, Mayor. Any last words?
No. Hold on really quick. I do want to let everybody know that as far as sandbag, we've been doing sandbag distributions this week.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be doing a hurricane preparedness Facebook Live next week. I believe it's on the 16th. we'll be doing that. I'll be one of the panelists on that. It's going to be moderated by Tim Smith. We're going to have our emergency operations coordinator for the city and the county on. So looking forward to that. And if anybody looking for some information on that, it's going to be on the 16th, I believe, at 10 a.m. Yes, I'm sorry.
Item?
Oh, okay. I was wondering, Mayor, is there any type of like an outreach program where you might be reaching out to all the local businesses? I think that something needs to be done to kind of change the image of this. It's not us against them or you know, the younger people against the older people. You know, this is something that can affect anybody. And if we can like start a campaign, or I don't know if there's already something like that going on locally in Brownsville, because I've been, you know, tied down to my house over here, and I'm in Westlaco, so I follow all orders of quarantine. And but I don't know if there's already something like that going on in Brownsville to try to change this image that this is something that can affect everybody, and we have to all be on the same side of this. Like I said, you know, it's not like, oh, because Erasmo said it, we can't do it now, or whatever, and things like that. You know, we're here ultimately to try to help as many people as we can, and it's getting to the point of we have to save lives, and that's what this is. It's coming down to. I mean, we've seen what it's four lives already this week. I mean, that's very sad, and so I'm wondering, do you have anything like that going on with local businesses, or you do? Okay.
Actually, yeah, our city departments, because some of them have been either working from home or their departments' responsibilities have kind of shifted a little bit during this. We've actually distributed several thousand bags to households in different areas of the city, and it's actually been serving a dual purpose. Not only has it been COVID materials, but we've also kind of tried to kill two birds with one stone and put in a lot of census materials as well. And at all of our food distribution sites, which happen every Friday, we've been doing outreach and giving out materials and different educational pamphlets on both census and COVID related things. So I did put out something today regarding the census. If somebody hasn't done their census yet, we're right at about 50%. We need to get to 80%. So if you haven't done your census, please do your census. It's 2020census.gov. So please, we need everybody to do their part and make sure that we make everybody visible and get everybody counted, so we can get not only maximum funding, but programming and everything else we're entitled to for our population. So, all right.
Mayor, thank you so much, Mayor. Have a great evening. And, God bless. And I want one of those census cups.
Yes, you can have mine.
Thank you, Mayor. God bless.
Good night. Thank you.
And thank you again to the mayor of the city of Brownsville for being on tonight, guys. What an amazing mayor we have. We're very, very fortunate, especially at these trying times. Now, Ida, I have a question for you. Don't you wish, since you are organizational specialist out there for AOBE, TSTA, don't you wish that administration or the board imitated more the mayor of the city of Brownsville than what it actually does?
There's a lot of things I wish for in this time. I wish we had better communication. Because like you mentioned earlier, I think the lack of communication is what causes the chaos and the panic out there. And I wish that everybody could see that this is something that we all need to be on the same side, okay? This is something that can affect anybody. And all we're trying to do is just to protect as many people and save as many lives as we can in this process. And, you know, some people, yes, can comment that they're overreacting and, oh, you know, these people just don't want to come to work. No, you know, nobody knows. Nobody should be able to judge these people because they don't know their personal situation, what's going on, what underlying health conditions they might have or a family member might have. So there's reasons why some people are choosing to work from home. And, that's something that is very serious right now. And I wish that they would consider that a little bit more and enforce it more. And unfortunately, they're not. And unfortunately, the communication there is not as good as it could be. But yes, I have several wishes that
let me ask
I
you
could change.
one of the things that I've been posting about and talking about very, very openly is how blatantly they have lied, systematically lied, or not shared complete information out there. Is that frustrating for you all that are out there, representing our amazing teachers and staff?
Yes, it is very frustrating because we have to take them at their word on what they put out and when they put it out. And I mean, what else can we do at this point? There's times that we do ask for open records request, and but a lot of them get sent up to the Attorney General for opinion. So what are we going to do? That just delays the whole process. So, but yeah, it goes back to the communication, but we're not going to let up. We're going to continue to send emails and follow up on our members' concerns. And a lot of them are very valid concerns when it comes to their health and safety. So.
Well, one of the things I think that we're going to be facing is more individuals going onto campuses. Is it safe for our individuals to be going back onto campuses?
No, and that's one of the things that this week that when we met with the superintendent to discuss the calendar, they were very concerned with which calendar is going to be chosen for next year. And I'm sorry, I don't know how you read all these comments and continue to talk. And I have to hand it to you. It's very distracting.
Hey, go on.
You too.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh. So, but in discussing the calendar, they were very concerned about, okay, which one are we going to do? Here we are already, June 11th. And, we're kind of, it's a little late in the game to be deciding on that. But besides that, one of the concerns that I had was, and I mentioned it in the meeting, and this meeting was with, he called all associations. So we were all there, and except for mine was on the phone because, like I mentioned, I have strict restrictions because TSTA believes that we have to lead by example. And if we're fighting for safety for our members, then we have to display that as well. So that's why I've done my meetings only by phone or video conference or whatever other type of communication in that form. But in this meeting, they were talking about, well, we got to choose the calendar that's going to work best because we don't know what's going to happen and this and that. And my concern was, okay, well, where are we with safety? What is it that we're doing to make things different for next year for if we do get to start? We don't even know what's going to happen. We don't know what the numbers are going to look like at the end of the summer and things like that. So that was a concern that I had with that, and I'm hoping that all we can continue to do is ask them. And but also one thing that I have noticed the difference with this is the members are becoming a whole lot more vocal now. And I don't know if it's because they've reached that level of frustration or panic, but a lot of them are reaching out a lot more and are even sending emails to their immediate supervisors with their concerns. So that way they can express their concerns, and it's been documented where they're expressing concerns with the workplace and things like that. So that's something that we hadn't seen before,
Right.
But I think it's because they've pushed them to that already.
Well, you had the chance to see both calendars. What can you tell us? Well, just to answer David's question, Governor said that when school does open, only 40% in building for fall. I don't think that changed, or did it? I'm going to think, David, that he was referring to the university and not necessarily the classrooms as of yet. I
Yeah.
think we're still at the 6 foot distancing, no more than 10. But again, one of the things that I did see is that some school districts are already opening up or there's some word that they might open up at a greater capacity. So again, the way that this district is going with this leadership, they might force a lot of our people onto campus and place them and continuously place them on danger. With that said, Ida, one of the questions that we constantly get is in regards to when are we going back to school? You've had the option of seeing the 3 calendars options there: option A, option B, option C. Can you tell us what is the difference between those options in short term, and what do y'all think would be, what is AOBE recommending is the best option for our school year?
Well, the thing with that is that we don't make the decisions for our membership. Okay, we're an association that's governed by our membership. So the opinion of our members is what matters. We don't make that decision because we think we know what's best for them. You know, other associations might do that. That's not how we work. So we surveyed our membership. We send it out. So far, we haven't closed that survey to see. But calendar A is actually your regular calendar that was already approved in January, which is the regular start date, and there's no changes on that calendar. Okay. Then you have your calendar B, which and we put it all on the surveys. We put pictures of the different calendars. Calendar B is the one that has the changes, which has a few Saturdays that they would be working. I believe it's about about 5 to 6 Saturdays that they would be working throughout the year, and all of June that they would be working. Now, these would be called intercession days. Those days are going to be only if they have to do school closures before that.
Right.
Okay. So it would basically be a longer school year if that's the calendar that they go with. Now, I did ask, how is that going to work for the employees? Are we talking about adding additional days to their contract? Are we talking extra pay? What is it going to be at their regular daily rate? They did not have that answer yet. So I guess we're going to have to wait to hear about that one if they're going to go with that, because it's going to be quite a bit of extra amount of days. Then calendar C is what TEA is recommending. Okay, that one would have the staff coming back on July 27th with an extra. It has an extra week in November, 2 extra weeks in the winter break, and 2 extra weeks in the spring break. So again, that one falls with, if there has to be closures, that's when those days would be made up. If not, then it would be those days off. So what was very interesting is, and this goes to show that you never know what your membership, how they feel. And yes, we're not going to be able to have everybody agree, but we have to go with what majority says. And we thought that mostly everybody was going to go with calendar B, but no, they didn't. So far, we're seeing a majority going with calendar A, which is the original calendar. So
calendar A, yeah, that's actually one of the things that I was starting to like, calendar C, but then I came out publicly and said, you know what, let's just do calendar A, because this is just getting to be ridiculous. They just stay.
Well, the thing with calendar C, and as long as you see it, you're looking at the staff coming back July 27th. And I believe that they're going to present these calendars to the school board. It's not for approval yet. It's just, according to the superintendent, it's just going to be, no, it's not approval yet. No, it's just going to be presented, and then it goes out to the staff to vote.
That's crazy.
Because the employees are going to vote on that.
That's crazy.
So, I believe so, because it's not letting the teachers be able to plan for next year. Because even though the teachers are off right now, and a lot of them are burnt out, but a lot of them start planning since June. They start, purchasing materials and things like that out of their own pocket, unfortunately.
Corpus Christi already approved their calendar. They already voted on it. Laredo's already gone out there and voted for it. I mean, other cities throughout the other districts have already voted on it, and teachers already know what to expect for the start of next year. Correct. We are so far behind, it is ridiculous. And the reason that and this is just my opinion, I know it's not yours or AOB's, the reason we are so far behind is because the mayor has been procrastinating, has been reacting to anything that we say and trying to catch up. Because not every other district, but a lot of districts out there throughout the state of Texas that are a lot less funded. And I got a little bit of heat from a friend of mine who started to say, hey, well, you can't compare Corpus Christi to Brownsville because of all that money, all the money that they get. I said, bro, you haven't seen the budget. Their budget is half of our budget. We still have a larger budget than they do. We should be a little bit more responsible. And John, thank you for the mayor for not answering the damn question. He actually did answer the question, not to your liking. And I'm going to say this, John, not to my liking, because I have said it publicly and I'll say it again. I don't think that the rock is a priority, and to protest against the rock and to remove the rock is madness when we have so much crap going on around the city of Brownsville. So he answered that question, but not to your liking, not to my liking. But you know what? At least he was out there to answer. So I'll do that. But again, going back into the other the question, I just didn't want to lose the question. Why is it that other districts are being proactive in regards to the calendar, Corona, teacher raises, stipends, something that y'all are fighting for, something that I've called out for? Give my teachers a stipend, give every employee out there classified, give them a stipend too. Why is this superintendent and why is this board so adamant not to give out stipends to our people?
I don't know on that. I wish I had that answer. As far as on the stipends, that is something that AOBE is very proud that we were able to initiate as far as getting a petition going on this, because in reviewing the financial state of this school district, the ISD is in very good standings financially. And it doesn't mean that, oh, we should be careless with that. But we believe that it is all of the employees working together that were able to help the district to be able to complete the school year. And it was a very tough ending to the school year. But these employees dug deep inside to be able to pull through, because they were going through this pandemic themselves and overcoming a lot of obstacles and having to deal with their kids having to be home as well. But they still continue to do their job to be able to successfully close the school year. So because they were able to keep the district in compliance, they were able to receive the $19 million in the CARES Act money. Now, one of the things that the superintendent did mention, and I think it's because he knows that we have this petition going, and he mentioned that, well, this is not additional money. This is to supplant what they have. And you know what? That is true, but it doesn't mean, though, that the employees don't deserve this, because we have a very healthy fund balance, over $200 million in a fund balance, okay? And that is also due to the employees' loyalty and being able to help the district bring in those funds. So because these employees pulled together and were able to do all of this, the least that they can do is show them some gratitude and pay a one-time stipend. And we're asking for this to be done at the end of this contract year, not for next year's raise or anything like that. We're asking for a one-time stipend now of $1,500 for administrators and teachers, all professionals, your certified people, and for $1,000 for all classified. We're talking across the board. It doesn't matter what they did, what their job was, if they were working from home or if they were whatever it was. Everybody across the board deserves this. because our employees are going through a crisis. Unemployment being at an all-time high, it's affecting a lot of people. So we need to show show appreciation to the employees for their loyalty and their hard work. And so that's why we have this stipend right now. I mean, the petition, it is, I believe, over 1,200 signatures we have, which it is a lot for people to come forward and actually sign this petition. So we're hoping to be able to get a few more, and we will present this electronically to all the school board members and to the superintendent. And the ball is basically in their court after that, because they are the decision makers. And we are hoping that they will realize how important it is to the employees. And if they don't, then our members will know what decisions they made on it, and they'll remember down the line in election time or whatever the case might be.
Going back to the stipends very quickly, I believe the teachers did get for 2 months $67. Currently, right now with summer school, it is distant learning online. What has the teacher sentiment been? They have to use their internet. Sometimes they have to use their phone and other resources to communicate with the student, to communicate with the parents. Number one, what has been the sentiment of the teachers currently right now serving summer school? And with the implementation or the request of $1,500, would this be a one-time stipend, or would it be possibly even extending it into next year?
Right now, with the teachers that are doing the summer school, to my understanding, and a lot of them, and we can only voice out and represent the people who reach out to us, okay? But for summer school, we haven't had as many people reach out in regards to the technology issues that were going on earlier in the six weeks. So with that, to my understanding, they were given additional technology equipment that they're testing out for the following year. So they were actually given proper equipment to be able to do the distance learning. So I haven't heard any issues with summer school, but the stipend that was given for April and May, which was $100 stipend for April and $100 for May, which, yes, after taxes and all of that comes out to whatever, 67 or whatever it is. I don't believe that was enough, and it left out too many people. It was only for teachers with teachers that had a teacher of record. It didn't include the counselors. It excluded too many people. And there was a lot of people that were working from home and took on additional expenses to be able to work from home. So we don't believe that was right to do that and exclude them in that small stipend. But that's why we feel that we need to make sure that they step up and give them this amount. And this is completely doable. Yes, we know it's a lot of money, but we're talking between $7 million to $8.5 million that we're talking about for this stipend to be paid out.
Nothing compared to the amount of money that Sylvia Atkinson stole from our.
I knew you were going to go there. I knew.
I was waiting for her to come up.
Nothing when you compare it to the amount of money that Prissy drew. Compared to what they fomented the culture of thievery. Would we have the option of continuing homeschooling our children, having BIZ setting assignments and tests? We're not sure yet, but I'm going to say yes. Yes.
Well, on that, they did discuss that that is why they have that survey out for the parents to do. According to them, they've gotten a very low response from parents as far as the survey to see what it is that they're going to want to do for next year. If they're going to want to do the hybrid schedule, which is the Monday and Wednesday in class, and then Tuesday and Thursdays at home, or straight distance learning, and then Fridays would be just for students needing like remedial services and things like that. So they still have that out, but I believe they're kind of running out of time on this because we need to know what we're looking at for next year. Our teachers like to be very proactive and like to prepare for the school year, and they want to know what it is that they're going to be looking at for next year.
The mayor just comes on to tell him how great he is. Well, you know, somebody needs to tell him that he's doing a great job every so often. But let me tell you, guys, and I mean, I can show you. Again, one of the things that we talked about today is how the mayor and I disagreed in regards to the, the spiking of this thing. And we joke about it now, but, the mayor and I have had very, very serious talks. I mean, we've also had conversations in regards to a lot of the political leaning of this city commission. And again, I disagree with The Rock. I've made it very, very clear. I think that there's other issues that are more important. I've shared publicly the concerns that we have with PUB. I've shared them with him. We've shared them with him. But right now, it seems that, everyone wants us to continuously ask the same questions over and over again. We have to ask the questions that are pertinent today. And today, the questions that are pertinent today are the high rise of numbers that came out in regards to COVID-19, not COVID-16 like the superintendent said, and not COVID-10 like the Brownsville Herald said. COVID-19. That is what is at the forefront of what's going on today. Guys, we try to give you something different, current events today. So is the mayor great? I'm going to say it again. I think the mayor is great. Is the superintendent, was a superintendent a mistake? He is a mistake. He's horrible. He's pathetic. He's stupid. Stupid. Is the board stupid? Stupid. Is the city commission stupid? Stupid. The city commission is stupid. And again, everyone's invited. Someone was making a statement out here. Oh, well, why don't you invite the other the school board associations? Come on, because I'm going to tell you exactly what I've said about you. Stop kissing Minerva's butt. Stop kissing their ass and start really representing the individuals that you're they're stealing the money from. Same thing. Can't get rid of The Rock. Just can't. Eduardo, it'll be the stupidest thing this city commission, this commission does, removing The Rock. It's just dumb at this time, my opinion. Ida and Abeldano and AOBE staff, you are doing a great job. Thanks. I agree. The Rock will take a forklift, a dump truck, and about 2 hours to move to the museum. Puro DUI. If you're referring to me, it was a DWI. With cases on the rise as we speak, the later potential start date makes the most sense at this point. Starting at the end of the next month does not make sense right now. Cesar, the truth of the matter is I've been out there to say that we should not start till January. I mean, take into consideration, they were considering 3 weeks off for November, 4 weeks off for December. Let's just cut our losses and start in January. My goodness gracious. And, and let's really start prepare for that time. It's possible. It's doable. Are we ready to go back to school in July? No way, no way, no how. Are we ready to go back to school in August? No way, no how. It's not going to happen. We're not going to be ready. Vamos a andar otra vez como gallinas descabezadas. And you know who's going to take the brunt of the hit, Ida? The staff.
Yes, exactly.
The
students and the staff. And it's unfortunate because I mean, honestly, in reviewing all calendars, not only are we behind on that, but I believe that the safety has to be first. And right now, I don't see it being a priority right now with the decisions that they're making or the discussions that they're having. But that's something that we're just going to continue to try to have that conversation with them and continue to try to organize around that and have our members reach out to them themselves. They have to hear that this is not something that we're just trying to exaggerate on or make a big deal about. No. I mean, we've shared with them from the beginning. And we have shared.
And Sandra is right. And Sandra and I don't agree on a lot of things. But Sandra, you're right, Sandra. You know why they won't give stipends? They won't give a decent because they don't give decent cost of living raises. Sandra, one of the things that we were hoping for with all these pay studies that they were going to bring in supposedly for free was that we could start to get close to what other individuals, other districts in the valley are paying their employees. We're nowhere close. I mean, I shared it. Some of our bus drivers, some of our food service people had a meeting up there at Region 1, and they found out from other employees that they were earning at some instances close to 35% less than other districts. It's ridiculous. We need to up the game. We are the richest district south of San Antonio. We have an amazing fund balance, as Ida has shared with us. Guys, let's start paying our teachers, our staff, a decent wage. Do AOBE board members take a salary? And if so, what are they getting paid?
No, they do not. Our board members, no.
No. And unfortunately, for a lot of the other associations, they do. No, it's all volunteer. Good job. Why would they even think of a stipend? Why wouldn't they?
Why wouldn't they? Exactly. The employees deserve that. They deserve something now and not something that's going to be stretched out for months. They've inquired different expenses right now in order for them to have been able to complete the school year.
No, Mayor, Bacay, Paya, wah. That's his effing job. It's not his job. His job is actually an attorney in the city of Brownsville. He serves in a non-paying position as mayor of the city of Brownsville. And let me tell you guys, and Mike, I love you, Mike. And I am going to defend the mayor on this one. He closed his business in order to prevent his employees from either he closed it, either he closed Dodici's Pizza because of COVID-19 or because commissioners were getting into fights at that place. One of the two. I'm not sure which one, but it's still both of those options were to protect the people of the city of Brownsville. With that said, and again, I don't want to call out anyone in regards to their employee, but I noticed on his personal page, he goes out there and says, guys, I'm an attorney and, I still got to work. So, and again, he wants to market his business. He needs to market his business on his own private page because his job is being a lawyer in the city of Brownsville, and again, he serves the city without getting paid a cent. So I think it's $15 a meeting. Kids are being given tablets for tech and yet not the teachers. We were supposed to have tech to begin with. Many had to buy computers, webcams to borrow from their school, and y'all got nothing. Nothing.
Are the
They got $100.
Are the teachers, Ida, prepared to do hybrid next year? Is that something that they would be ready for at this point?
Not at this point, and that's why I wish that they could already make this decision so they can start preparing. The teachers were a lot more prepared by the end of the six weeks than when it started because our teachers are amazing. All of our employees are amazing, and they, on their own, they were doing 12-hour days or 14-hour days doing research on finding ways to engage the students to do the distance learning. And they didn't sit back and to wait for them to give them all the answers on how to do this. They did the research to do that. And but I wish that the decision could be made already so they can start preparing for next year. And that's the type of employees that we have here at BISD. And that's why we need to show them that gratitude and for their loyalty and approve this stipend. They need to. And if they don't approve the stipend, we will put it out as far as who voted for and who voted for against on this, because it is important. We've shared the concerns with them as far as the issues that they had from the very beginning, because we believe in getting the information from our members. So we would send out surveys so they can let us know what are the issues that they're having with the distance learning. So with all of that information that was collected, I didn't put, we deleted the information as far as who it was that submitted the info. So it was completely anonymous to them, but it was their actual concerns that they sent in to us, okay? And we shared it with the superintendent and the board members, because I wanted them to know the difficult obstacles that they were facing, but they still kept going. And so they can't say that they didn't know these issues were going on. They cannot say that they were not aware of the problems, because we shared it with them.
Yeah.
And that's why we're firm believers that they deserve this, and they actually deserve a whole lot more.
Yeah.
They deserve a whole lot more for being able to do this and not giving up. And you don't know how many people we spoke to that some were in tears, and these are experienced educators that didn't know what else to do because they were just so overwhelmed. And and we tried to help them as much as we can. We addressed the issues to see what could be taken off of their plate. As far as, I mean, we were working long days, and we still are at this point, to be able to try to get things done. And it is because of that we were able to get some things done in favor for them, because we didn't stop working. I mean, and we were not going to stop, because this is a time when you realize what your association can do for you. It helps you to get your voice. It helps you to be able to get your message across properly. Okay. Yeah. And that is one thing that we did. We were able to, one of the important things, well, several things that we were able to get, and we call them wins, but we were able to, on the T-test evaluation, even though they submitted a waiver to the TEA, some of the teachers shared with us that they had already gone through their summative evaluation, so they wanted their evaluation to count, because it was just the ending part that was needed, which is your summative. And so we reached out to HR and we said, hey, is there any way something can be done here? And so they took that into consideration. And because of that, the teachers had the option to have their evaluation count for this current year, or go ahead and waive it, and then they'll have a chance the following school year. So that came to be because we advocated for them. There were several other different things. They had put out a survey for the people who were going to work when they were doing the double pay and stuff. They put out a survey asking them certain questions that are not allowed to be asked. They were asking them health questions for them to disclose certain things that they could not disclose. That's in violation of HIPAA. That was addressed right away because it was brought to us, and that survey was taken down immediately. So that was something that was able to be accomplished by AOBE. The other thing, one other thing is the Family First Coronavirus Response Act. That is one of the things that the district was not putting out as far as their answers. And so because of that, we were able to, have all the employees be able to file through that.
That's awesome. Trey, okay, just to answer this question, because we're getting a lot of questions. I want to get to most of them.
All right.
It's very, very hard to get to all the questions, guys. And I'm not trying to skip over questions. There's hundreds of questions out there. We are on 5 different platforms, guys. So I'm not trying to skip any questions. There's a lot that we're going to go to, but I'm going to answer this one because it's in regards to something that I know. Look, guys, Trey is just useless mayor. I'm going to disagree with you, my friend. And this is one of my friends. I'm going to disagree with you. Only cares about the Dici. Again, we already mentioned that he closed down the Dici in order to protect the community of Brownsville and his other interests. Again, the only other interest I've seen him promoting was today when he was trying to get some business in order to make some money to pay his staff at his thing. Again, just saying that. HEB left. HEB didn't leave because of this administration. HEB left because of years of neglect, of years of not being serviced downtown. It wasn't necessarily Mayor Mendez's fault. I would blame the previous 2-3 mayors who have let the downtown go to crap. So again, is it defending Trey? No, again, I've gone out there and called out Trey in regards to things that we disagree on. And I always will. Why has he never called a penguin when she really is a rat asking for a friend? Well, she's, penguins are like the Antarctica rats. So hey, no technology has been issued. There hasn't. Who cut your hair, Frankie? It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. It actually only took $3. The total was $197.10. Madness. $197.10. No, hombre, pero I see him and I like Finally, someone who can answer our question. Y se la pasaba. Well, again, there was a lot of stuff coming in, Mike, but I mean, I didn't see any of your questions, bro. Really, I mean, again, I'll try to make sure that to post the questions, but really, there was a lot of questions coming in. It would help, guys, if y'all want to send your questions in beforehand. Con ganas, we'll take them beforehand, guys. Again, it's not that we're trying to avoid questions. I still got like another hour of questions that we got to get to, guys. So don't blame the mayor. Don't bless Erasmo kissing the mayor's ass. Superintendent needs to remember why everyone is there. The students, these teachers who have invested more in their 8 hours a day to be available for their students online because they care. Amen, sister. Prices are going up. They really are. Papatata, tus hijos vuelvan. Where's Sylvia? She didn't turn in tonight. No, I think she didn't come on tonight. I was waiting they were waiting for Sylvia. She's got fans. If someone is out risking their life, that is their business. It doesn't mean everyone else should be forced to work on site. The COVID building, when they have been working effectively remotely since March. I completely agree, Lucky. ¿Dónde está el cabo de Minerva? Is anyone thinking of the kids? Calendar C gives more weeks off in November and for spring break. What about continuity? It's something that we mentioned. The schedule makes it very difficult to build the momentum and consistency in hopes that kids prepare for the year and exams. 100%. Roman, the mayor is never involved. It's just a show, PR. I think PR is what the superintendent and the corrupt board tried to do with sending our students back to on campus and then calling a PR move by taking pictures of them. What do you think about the hybrid schedule? A lot of educators have their children in school. We would need to get the child care since they would be working Monday to Friday. I'll let you take this one.
I believe really on that I don't believe any of the schedules are good because the hybrid schedule is still going to be able to have too much contact with the students and stuff. Certain students on Monday and Wednesday, the other ones on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I don't think it's going to work good. I think we need to push for the safety. We don't have to completely shut everything down. We just have to be a lot more careful, and that's where they're dropping the ball.
The organizations did not support their teachers. Let me tell you guys, I've had my issues with AOBE, and I've mentioned them publicly. I've had issues in the past with the other associations, and I have an issue with them today. Any association out there that is kissing the butt of the board is not serving the people that they are receiving dues from. And let me tell you guys, I am very, very, very upset with the other two teacher associations out here. Very, very upset. And again, have yet to heard from them. Someone said, why don't you invite them? They can come anytime they want. And when they come on, I'm going to tell them exactly the same thing. Donna Police, if they come up, they're not going to come on. Donna Police Chief in trouble on his liking account said they should start shooting the looters. See what happens with his job.
Fired.
Yeah, fired. No pun intended. Hell no. While Royal has been saying January, I agree with Royal. Why can't we do online learning and building until January? Exactly my point. Let's just start in January. Let's slowly start coming back in January. I agree, Erasmo. Finally, somebody agrees with me. Students and teachers. Miss Hot Grave, I agree. You're right. Sandra is almost always right, except when she's disagreeing with me. It never has been a priority for them. It never has. Very well said, madam. Good job. Yes, the district is not ready. They wasted too much time. They did. Boycott BISD. No. No. Let's work together to correct what is default at BISD. No. BISD has the most amazing teachers, the most amazing programs out there. What we have that sucks is the superintendent and his Edinburgh buddies and this stupid, corrupt board. That's what sucks. We have, and they retaliated by forcing everyone back to the main office on Monday. Loki, I'm sorry that happened. As we're trying.
And on that, we have sent an email about them reporting on Monday, especially since the results are not back on those two departments that had to go get tested. So I'm waiting to hear back from them on that as far as what are they going to do.
Yes, good job. No, for summer school, no equipment is given out for summer school, no technology stipend, nothing. But they want us to do daily Zoom lessons and daily contact via phone to parents, no technology. The only equipment that was mentioned that would be provided, we had to teach from the campus no summer teachers wants to say anything, and for what? For $67? It's crazy. Many of us parents.
If that person that commented can please reach out to us, I would like to have a conversation with them. They can call our office at 621-3010 and or send an email to aobeadvocate@gmail. And I'd like to reach out to them because, like I mentioned earlier, nobody has said any concerns in regards to summer school, but that is what they told us.
Awesome. Let's finish this one. Many of us parents had to be online Zoom meetings with students, teachers, and administrators for their class program, do professional development. Some say even call parents and administrators. No stipend at all for us with internet, phone, technology. It's true. I love my parents. Guys.
Go sign the petition.
Sign the petition. There's a petition out there. Pero son los más indigentes. But all the admits got a $13,000 raise. Let me tell you guys, that's one of the things that's written into the superintendent's contract. If teachers get a raise, he's going to get a raise, guys. But one of the things that I thought, and I'll ask you this question. One of the things that we saw the list of attrition in regards to, possible, cutbacks in regards to personnel. You know what I missed out there, Ida? I didn't see no list of attrition for the Glass Palace.
That is correct.
His Edinburgh buddy, for anyone else that came out for there.
That's one of the things that we did request through open records and was sent off for opinion.
And we actually got a response today. I submitted the same request, and they are not going to give us the information.
Wow. Okay.
But let me tell you guys, we have in our reach the opportunity to change that this November. Remember in November, guys, we have the opportunity from them. No more hiding stuff. No more asking for attorney general opinions worded in a way that we are not going to get the information. It's time, folks. At Erasmo RGB Partnership, having a webinar with Lucio Jr., Mike Moran from Texas Education Agency, Cornelio from Region 1. You know what, Luis? I hate those webinars. I hate those town halls because they're if they're anything like the one we had here at BISD, it was pathetic. And I don't trust Mike, and I don't trust Mr. Senator Lucio's office staff. His office staff is horrible. Senator Lucio's office staff is horrible. They do a horrible job. And why the senator hasn't gotten rid of him a long, long time ago, they are giving them horrible advice. Teachers' lives matter. The stipend statement went with the first part. They won't give us a stipend because they can't even give us a decent raise. I love Sandra. I love you, Sandra. Fighting Earth. Where's the mayor's restaurant? Downtown, but it's closed. I'm sorry, so distracted by the pretty face. Thank you. Oh, maybe you. Online learning. Your comment coming late. By the time they come up, it's been addressed. I know. I'm sorry. It's there are actually a lot of comments, guys. I know that y'all see one section. We get to see all 5 sections. Ida, thank you for your support for making our voice heard. Great job, DJF. The GSD board could not make a decisive decision if their life depended on it. They can't. Love you guys. Love you too, my man. Oh, I know, bro. I love you. You know I love you, man. See, Mike is another one. Sometimes we fight. We come back to hug and kiss and do other things. But they will still say it at election time. Oh yeah, election time. Oh, we're here for you. We're here for the children. We're here for the children. I'm a member of the superintendent roundtable. Oh my Lord, lucky you. I inboxed all the board members. All I got back from one was, thank you for your concern. That it was a long message I sent in. And I bet you that they didn't even read a sentence. Just say COVID numbers for Cameron County it's in the thousands, 1,031. COVID cases are up in BISD considering this. Yes. And the hundreds of individuals that went yesterday and today were mostly from BISD. And BISD is in for a shock. The community is in for a bigger shock. 12 to 14-hour days. No, we're working about 16 hours a day and more on some days. And Sandra, that's going to continue throughout this next semester, this fall semester. Todavía. That was never stopped them before. It never has. Elections will stop them. That is why they are hiding behind now and taking 1/3 pay cut. Yeah. AOBE fought for the technology stipend. Amen, sister.
That too, we did.
Shout out to Sandra, my 5th grade teacher back in the day at Morningside. Love you, Sandra. Let's see. HEB was closed because it would have cost more to, and that's very true. It really would have cost more to fix. It was, but again, going back into the same thing I've always said, once you let something decay, it's harder to bring it back to life. They should have taken care of it slowly, more and more and more. That's why it's previous administration's fault. Speaking of downtown, that old Wells Fargo, the new courthouse, is full of asbestos. It really is. I was there during the building phase. The city did not want to pay for the removal, and they didn't. They shouldn't have either. It was the county that should have paid because it is a county building. Not good for the people with respiratory problems. It is, but it is the county's responsibility because it turned into county problems. Sylvia's funny. All my fiosa. Yeah, I miss Sylvia. She actually going to court the first week of July. There's an urgent story to expose. Safety is not, she exposed a lot, that's for sure. Safety is not the priority with this sport. It truly isn't.
And we need to make it. We need to make it known where we stand with that. And that's what we are pushing. We're not pushing for any of the calendars. First, we're pushing for safety. We have to establish that first and take care of our employees. And we need to know that the employees are going to be safe before we can consider any of these calendars. So until we get that for sure in place, then we'll work with the calendars and work on promoting that.
Appreciate that. Guys, I think we're going to take it in. Let's see another question. Probably not the venue to say this, but what no one seems to understand is that parents, possibly because they have too much work to provide for families, send their kids to school when sick, and teachers get sick as a result. How does someone police that? Educate parents. You're 100% right. Fix BISD in November. Amen. Remember November. BISD wasted too much time. 100% right. The board needs to go. 100% right. 70 at Erasmo 2020. Preach! And thank you for trying, but we will do anything different because they refuse to do that wrong. Well, what you can do different is go out and get a lot of people to go out and vote. That's what you can do different. I hate the way they micromanage.
We have a lot of power. We have a lot of people. We just need to not sit back and just be okay with these decisions that are made. People's lives are in danger here, and we can't sit back anymore. We need to make our concerns be known to them, and that's why we did also send out a email to our members with the email addresses of our school board members, so they can reach out to them and let them know what they're going through at this
100%.
time.
I hate they micromanage the teachers. They don't even let us do our job. 100%. You're right. Contact me. I will tell you about it also. Awesome, Sandra. Sandra, come on the show with us, Sandra. I'd love to have you, my love. The Puz Martinez going back to his girlfriend's couch to sleep, huh? Todavía están en vivo. Se pasan. Es tiempo de dormir. It is. Sorry, guys. Sorry, we're almost done. But he already gave himself a humongous raise. Why should he get more than when teachers don't make 100%? Let's get rid of him. Summer school employees haven't contacted you because we only have 14 days to get a lot of things done. It's fast. It's furious. No time for anything else. Sandra, love you. And remember in November, how can you get the people more involved? By voting. Easily. Come out and vote. Something's going to right now on 802 Southwest Keys area. Fire trucks, police, ambulances towards Rivera High School direction. Be safe, everyone. Please be safe, everyone. Allow teachers to vote at their work. I agree 100%. Only Frankie 2020. Thanks. Guys, Ida, any last words?
That's it, guys. Please sign on, do the petition. We got to be heard, okay?
Frankie, last words.
Thank you so much, Ida, for your time. It's been apparent since the COVID-19 pandemic that AOBE has been at the forefront, concerning the teachers' concerns, their issues. It's apparent that the administration right now isn't in tune with the community. Every decision that they have made has not been in the best interest as a whole. We hope to change that in November. We hope that individuals realize what we have now and know that we have an opportunity to put people in place that will be accessible, will be transparent, and most importantly, will answer your questions. So thank you so much, Ida, for your time, and thanks to AOBE once again. We'd love to have you on in a couple weeks if you're up for it.
I sure will. It's been fun. I thank you guys for everything that you all are doing and for being nice to me, for being on my first time on here. And I really hope you continue to encourage the people to be vocal. We can't sit back anymore. Also in that meeting, I was very in awe, shocked with how the other associations were quick to agree with the superintendent and not voice certain concerns with the safety issues that are going on. And we're not here to agree and say that everything's going to be okay when it's not. So that was one thing. They didn't like it, but hey, we're here to protect our members.
Amen. And thank you so much for everything that y'all do, Ida. Thank you to all the members of AOBE for always being proactive. I had the honor of traveling with AOBE to
that's right.
Texas. I still have my plaque right there on my wall that the AOBE gave in regards to our trip up there. When we were fighting for public education, guys, we will continue to fight for public education. We will continue to fight for public education. I know I'm trying to get back into the reviews. The problem is that because they were all closed, when I was starting to do the reviews again, all the restaurants closed. We're like, no! Guys, have a great rest of the evening. We were on a little bit longer than usual. We'll keep it shorter. Tomorrow, I'll be on here at 9, maybe a little bit later than 9, but I'll be here at 9. I should be away from my studio, but I'll still be on. Guys, have a great evening. We care about y'all. We care about y'all maintaining social distancing. It's the only way we're going to beat this, guys. It's the only way we're going to beat this. We stay apart from each other. God bless. Take care. Be good to each other. Please be good to me. God bless. Bye.
God bless, guys. Bye.